What would you do if at just 7 years old, the whole world suddenly became your responsibility? No parents, no protection, no food security, no school fees, only a tiny 3-year-old brother looking up to you and calling you, "Sister." This is not just a story of poverty. It is a story of sacrifice, a story of midnight bread hawking, a story of a little girl who became a mother, and a little boy who became a billionaire because she refused to let him fail. Get ready for a powerful Nigerian emotional success story that will make you laugh, cry, and believe that love can build empires. If you love inspiring African stories about resilience, family, and success, like this story, subscribe for more powerful, life-changing narratives. Share it with someone who needs hope today. The sun was shining brightly over Lagos that morning. Inside their expensive private school, 7-year-old Jennifer sat upright in her neat blue uniform, carefully writing her classwork. Her handwriting was always tidy. Her mother used to say, "A neat book is the sign of a focused child." Behind her, 3-year-old Kenneth was in the nursery section, coloring outside the lines as usual. "Teacher, see my aeroplane," he shouted proudly, though it looked more like a flying yam. The class laughed. Life was normal. Too normal. Then the door opened. The school secretary walked in quietly and whispered something to the class teacher. The teacher's face drained of color. The chalk fell from her hand. The room suddenly felt heavy. "Jennifer, Kenneth, please come with me." Jennifer stood up slowly. Something didn't feel right. Her heart was beating too fast for a normal school day. In the principal's office, they saw 2 strange men, one of their father's friends and a family driver. The driver's eyes were red and swollen. Kenneth smiled innocently. "Uncle, is Daddy outside?" No one answered immediately. Jennifer's fingers tightened around her skirt. The principal cleared his throat gently. "There was a car accident." Silence. "Your parents' car was hit by a trailer on the expressway." Jennifer's breathing became shallow. "And they didn't survive." The world went quiet. Not silent. Quiet, the kind that rings loudly inside your ears. Kenneth blinked. "Okay, so when are we going to the hospital?" The driver broke down crying. Jennifer didn't cry immediately. She just stood there, frozen, trying to understand how 2 people who kissed her goodbye that morning could suddenly not exist anymore. She remembered her mother's last words at the gate. "Take care of your brother." It sounded different now, heavier, final. Kenneth tugged her uniform. "Sister, why is everybody crying?" Jennifer knelt down and hugged him tightly. Her first act as a mother. The ride home. They were driven home, but it didn't feel like home anymore. The gate was crowded with neighbors whispering, "Oh, such a tragic accident. They were so young. What will happen to the children?" Kenneth ran inside. "Mummy, Daddy." No response. Only silence and the smell of perfume still lingering in the air. Jennifer walked slowly into her parents' bedroom. The bed was neatly made. Her father's wristwatch still lay on the dresser. She touched it. Still there. But he wasn't. That was when the tears came. Not loud, not dramatic. Just quiet tears of a little girl realizing she would never hear "Good night, Princess" again. The first night without them. That night, relatives filled the house. People cried loudly. Some fainted. Some discussed burial plans. But no one truly looked at the children. Kenneth slept on Jennifer's lap. Every few minutes, he would wake up and ask, "Sister, where is Mummy?" Jennifer swallowed her pain. "When is she coming back?" Jennifer hesitated. "Not soon." Kenneth thought for a moment and nodded. "Okay, tell her I finished my food." Jennifer hugged him tighter so he wouldn't see her tears. At just 7 years old, something inside her shifted. Childhood quietly packed its bags. Responsibility moved in. She didn't understand how. She didn't understand why. But deep down, she made a decision that night. No matter what happens, Kenneth will not suffer alone, even if the whole world turns its back. Even if she has to grow up overnight. She would become his shield. And she had no idea that this promise, made in the dark, would one day build an empire. The village welcomed them with dust, drums, and mourning. Their parents were buried under the hot sun, surrounded by crying relatives and loud prayers. Women beat their chests dramatically. "Oh, my brother, why did you leave these small children?" Jennifer stood quietly beside Kenneth. She wasn't crying loudly like others. She just held her brother's hand tightly as he tried to play with the sand near the grave. "Sister, why are they putting Daddy inside the ground?" he asked innocently. Jennifer swallowed hard. "So he can rest." Kenneth nodded. "Okay, when he wakes up, we will come back." Jennifer looked away so he wouldn't see her tears. Family meeting. 3 days after the burial, the elders gathered under the big mango tree. Plastic chairs arranged in a circle, serious faces, low whispers. The children sat on a mat nearby. The eldest uncle cleared his throat. "As the head of this family now, I will make sure my late brother's properties are protected." Protected. That word sounded strong. Responsible. Another uncle added quickly, "Yes, yes, the children will not suffer. We will manage everything well." Jennifer looked up hopefully. Maybe they would be safe after all. The elderly uncle who lived in Lagos adjusted his glasses. "I will move into their father's house in Lagos to prevent outsiders from stealing anything." Everyone nodded. It sounded wise, responsible, respectable. But wisdom without integrity is dangerous. Back to Lagos. 3 months later, Jennifer and Kenneth returned to Lagos. But something felt different immediately. Their father's cars were gone. The compound felt emptier. Strangers were moving furniture. Jennifer frowned. "Uncle, where is Daddy's black Jeep?" The uncle laughed casually. "Sold it, for maintenance." "Where is Mommy's boutique?" "Closed it. Business was failing." But Jennifer remembered clearly. Her mother's shop was doing very well. Still, she kept quiet. She was only 7. Who listens to a 7-year-old? The gradual disappearance. Weeks turned into months. Expensive curtains disappeared. Air conditioners were removed. Their parents' bedroom was repainted. One afternoon, Jennifer overheard 2 uncles talking. That land in Lekki sold quickly. And the one in Abuja? Almost finalized. Her heart skipped. That wasn't protection, that was liquidation. The false reassurance. One evening she gathered courage. "Uncle, are Kenneth and I still going to school?" The uncle waved his hand dismissively. "Of course. Why are you worrying like an old woman?" Kenneth laughed. "Sister, you are behaving like Mummy." Everyone laughed, but Jennifer didn't. Something felt wrong. The money runs dry. Within a year, visitors stopped coming. Phone calls reduced. The house started looking worn out. One afternoon, she overheard the elderly uncle shouting on the phone. "There's no money again. Everything is finished." Finished? How? Her parents have built wealth for years. The answer was simple. When money enters careless hands, it develops wings. The rejection. Then came the day that changed everything again. The school sent a notice. School fees overdue. Jennifer brought it to her uncle. He threw it on the table. "There's no money. Let them wait." Weeks passed. The school stopped waiting. They were sent home. Kenneth cried this time. "Sister, I didn't finish my drawing." Jennifer held his hand and walked quietly. When they got home, their uncle's tone had changed completely. "You people are too expensive to maintain." Expensive? They barely ate well anymore. "Go and find somewhere else to stay. I cannot kill myself for children that are not mine. Not mine." The words pierced deeper than hunger ever could. Jennifer stood frozen. "But uncle, this is our father's house." The slap came unexpectedly, sharp, loud. "Don't talk back to me." Kenneth burst into tears. Jennifer quickly pulled him close. That was the moment she understood something clearly. No one was coming to save them. No uncle, no relative, no miracle. Just her, at 8 years old, with a 4-year-old brother, and one small bag of clothes. That evening, the gate closed behind them, and childhood officially ended. The Lagos sky was turning orange when the gate slammed shut behind them. Jennifer stood still for a moment, one small bag in her hand, Kenneth holding her skirt. Cars drove past. Neighbors peeped through curtains. Nobody called them back. Kenneth looked up. Sister, are we coming back tomorrow? Jennifer forced a smile. No, we are going to our new house. Is it fine? Yes, she said boldly. Very fine. She had no idea where they were going. Finding shelter. They walked for almost an hour. Kenneth complained every 5 minutes. My legs are paining me. Sister, I'm hungry. Sister, is this our new house? Jennifer kept walking. Finally, they reached an uncompleted building at the end of a quiet street. No doors, no windows, just blocks and pillars. She stepped inside carefully. Dust everywhere, broken cement bags, mosquitoes rehearsing for night duty. She dropped the bag. This is it. Kenneth looked around. No television? No. No bed? We will use our wrapper. No light? She sighed. We have moon. Kenneth nodded slowly. Okay, it's not bad. Jennifer almost laughed through her tears. Children are so easy to convince. First night. That night the wind blew through the empty window spaces. Kenneth clung to her. Sister, I'm scared. I'm here. Are bad people coming? No. What about ghosts? Jennifer swallowed. If they come, I will beat them. Kenneth giggled. You are small, how will you beat ghosts? She lifted her tiny fist. I have power. He laughed and finally slept. Jennifer didn't sleep. She stared at the ceiling, or what should have been a ceiling. Tears rolled silently, but she didn't cry loudly. If she broke down, who would be strong? The next morning, survival began. She used the little money left in her bag to buy sachets of pure water. She balanced them in a small basin on her head. Pure water. Cold, pure water. Kenneth followed her barefoot, waving at cars like he was campaigning for president. Buy from my sister. If you don't buy, she will cry. Drivers laughed and bought. One woman looked at them carefully. Where are your parents? Jennifer replied calmly. They traveled. She wasn't ready to explain death to strangers. Hunger lessons. Some days they sold well. Some days they didn't. On bad days, they shared one loaf of bread for 2 meals. Kenneth once asked, Sister, why are we always drinking water? She smiled. Because water makes you intelligent. Really? Yes. He nodded proudly. I will be the most intelligent boy in Nigeria. She touched his head. Yes, you will. The fever. One evening, Kenneth stopped playing. He lay down quietly. Too quietly. Jennifer touched his forehead. Fire. Kenneth. He shivered. I'm cold. She panicked but tried not to show it. She ran to a nearby chemist. Please, my brother is sick. Where is your mother? She's not around. The pharmacist looked at her carefully and gave her basic medication at a discount. Back at the building, she placed a wet cloth on his head. Don't sleep too deep, she whispered. He opened his weak eyes. Sister, if I die, will I see Mummy? The question stabbed her heart. You are not dying, she said firmly. You must become our billionaire first. Even in fever, Kenneth smiled faintly. Okay, I will not die. The declaration. 2 days later, he recovered. Jennifer hugged him tightly. Listen to me, she said seriously. You must go to school. But we don't have money. I will get it. How? She lifted her chin proudly. I will sell water. I will sell bread. I will sell anything. Kenneth stared at her. Even sell me? She gasped dramatically. This boy. Who will buy you? You eat too much. They both burst into laughter. It was the first genuine laughter since their parents died. The dream is spoken. That night, under the open sky, Kenneth rested his head on her lap. Sister? Yes? When I become billionaire, I will buy you big house. How big? Big pass Uncle owned. She smiled. Good. And I will buy you many wigs. She laughed loudly. I don't even wear wig. You will start wearing. They laughed until their stomachs hurt. But deep inside, something serious had begun. A dream. Not from comfort, not from privilege, but from hunger. And sometimes, the strongest dreams are born on empty stomachs. Little did they know, that uncompleted building was not the end. Life in the uncompleted building slowly became normal. Not comfortable, but normal. By now, Jennifer had upgraded from selling pure water to hawking bread. Every morning before sunrise, she would tie her wrapper firmly, balance a tray of fresh bread on her head, and wake Kenneth gently. "Professor, it's morning." Kenneth would stretch dramatically. "5 more minutes, madam." She would tap his leg. "If you don't wake up, billionaire position will go to another person." He would jump up immediately. "No, I'm coming back to school." After months of saving coins, real coins counted one by one at night, Jennifer finally gathered enough to register Kenneth in a small public primary school. The day she went to see the head teacher, she stood confidently despite her worn slippers. "Ma," she said respectfully, "I want to put my brother in school." "Where are your parents?" the woman asked. Jennifer inhaled slowly. "They passed away." The head teacher softened. "And you?" "I will pay his fees. Maybe not once, but small. The woman studied her face. There was no childishness there, only determination. "Bring him on Monday," she said finally. Jennifer almost cried from relief. That night she told Kenneth, "You are starting school again." He screamed and jumped. "I will wear uniform again?" "Yes." "Will I have bag?" "Yes." "Will I become billionaire now?" She laughed. "First, learn ABC properly." The genius emerges. Kenneth adapted quickly. Within months, teachers noticed something unusual. He grasped mathematics like magic. He read faster than children older than him. One day, the teacher called Jennifer. "Are you sure this boy is not older than his age?" Jennifer smiled proudly. "I told him he must become billionaire." The teacher laughed. "Well, he might." At home, Kenneth would teach Jennifer what he learned. "Sister, do you know 7 times 8? She scratched her head. 50-something? 56, he corrected proudly. She clapped exaggeratedly. "Ah, my son is brilliant." He paused. "Why are you calling me your son?" She winked. "Because I'm your mother." They both burst into laughter. The day of another scare. One afternoon, as Jennifer was selling bread in traffic, someone shouted her name. "Are you Kenneth's sister?" Her heart skipped. Yes. He collapsed in school. Without thinking, she ran, tray of bread still on her head. People stared as she dashed barefoot through the street. At the school, Kenneth lay weak on a bench, fever again, exhaustion, probably from not eating enough. She carried him on her back, bread tray still balanced like a crown of responsibility. One passerby said, "This girl deserves a ward." She didn't hear. At the hospital, the nurse asked for payment. Jennifer untied her wrapper knot and poured out her savings. Coins, small notes, everything. "Is this complete?" she asked nervously. The nurse nodded. Treatment began. The midnight hustle. That night after buying medicine, they had no money left for food. Kenneth slept weakly. Jennifer stared at the empty corner where they usually kept bread. Nothing. She stood up quietly and walked to the bread supplier. "Madam, please give me bread on credit." The woman frowned. "You small girl, how I go trust you?" Jennifer placed her hands on her waist. "When my brother becomes billionaire, you will say you knew us from beginning." The woman laughed loudly. "Okay, future billionaire sister, Carrie." That night, Jennifer hawked until almost midnight. Streetlights flickering. Mosquitoes biting. Cars reducing. She sold enough to pay for the bread and kept the remaining few loaves. When she returned, Kenneth was awake. "Sister, where did you go?" "To fight for our destiny." He blinked sleepily. "Did you win?" She placed bread beside him. "We always win." They ate dry bread and drank water, but it tasted like victory, a bigger vision. Years passed. Kenneth turned 12 and gained admission into a good secondary school after scoring high in entrance exams. Jennifer, now 16, had saved enough to rent a small roadside kiosk. She expanded from bread to provisions, biscuits, sachet milk, sugar, rice measured in cups. Customers loved her honesty. They called her Madam Small but Mighty. One customer once joked, "Jennifer, when will you marry?" She replied quickly, "After my brother becomes a billionaire. I'm currently busy investing." Everyone laughed, but she meant it. She paid every term's school fees, never defaulted, never complained. Kenneth studied like someone who knew hunger personally. Sometimes he would look at her tired face and say, "Sister, when I make money, you will stop working." She would roll her eyes. "Who told you I want to stop?" I will be your boss. He laughed. Yes, man. The scholarship miracle. At 18, Kenneth applied for international scholarships. He didn't tell Jennifer at first. When the email arrived, he ran into the shop breathless. Sister, what, did you break something? I got scholarship abroad. She froze. Abroad? Yes, full scholarship. She sat down slowly. Tears formed in her eyes. Not tears of pain. Tears of harvest. That night, they didn't sleep early. They talked about airports, snow, foreign food, and dollars. Jennifer warned him playfully, "Don't go there and forget your poor sister." Kenneth hugged her tightly. "Forget you? You are my foundation." And deep down, both of them knew. The uncompleted building was no longer their address. The airport was crowded the day Kenneth left Nigeria. Jennifer stood outside the departure gate, holding herself together. She had never entered an airport before. Everything looked shiny and expensive, like the life she once lost. Kenneth hugged her tightly. "Sister, don't cry." "I'm not crying," she said, wiping tears quickly. Dust entered my eye. He laughed. "You have been strong since 8 years old. It's okay to cry small." She held his face in her hands. "Go and conquer. Remember where you came from." He nodded. "And remember," she added, wagging her finger, "no Oyinbo girl should distract you from Billionaire mission." He grinned. "Yes, ma'am." Life abroad was not easy. Snow shocked him. Cold shocked him. But poverty had trained him. While other students complained about assignments, Kenneth attacked them like survival depended on it. Because in his mind, it did. He graduated top of his class in computer engineering. At graduation, when his name was called for special recognition, he closed his eyes briefly. He saw an uncompleted building, a bread tray, an 8-year-old girl saying, "Become our billionaire." A global tech company hired him immediately with an exuberant salary. When he saw his first paycheck, he stared at the figures for long. Then he called Jennifer. "Sister." "Yes? If I convert this money to Naira, you will faint." She laughed loudly. "Convert it and send." He began saving aggressively. No reckless spending. No show-off lifestyle. He sent money home consistently. Jennifer expanded her shop, moved from kiosk to a small store, later to a bigger provision mart. Customers increased. Her confidence grew. The wedding gift. At 34, Jennifer met a kind, hardworking man named Emeka. He admired her strength. "I have never met a woman like you," he told her. She smiled. "You don't want to meet the 8-year-old version of me." She was too serious. They got married in a beautiful but modest ceremony. Kenneth flew in and sponsored everything from his savings. During the reception, someone asked Kenneth, "Why are you spending so much on your sister?" He replied boldly, "She spent her childhood on me." Silence. Respect followed. The big return. At 28, after years of experience abroad, Kenneth made a decision that shocked his colleagues. "I'm going back to Nigeria." "Why?" they asked. "You're earning dollars." He smiled. "I want to build something at home." Back in Lagos, he rented a small office space and started a tech company. The beginning was tough. Investors doubted him. Competition was strong. But Kenneth understood something others didn't. When you survive hunger, business pressure is small. He worked tirelessly. Slowly, contracts came, then partnerships, then expansion. 6 years later, his company became one of the top tech firms in Nigeria. One evening, Kenneth invited Jennifer to his massive office. She walked in and gasped. Smart screens. Busy staff. "Sister," he said, smiling, "welcome to your investment." She laughed. "So this is what bread money turned into?" He sat her down. "Name anything you want in this life." She thought deeply. "Anything? Anything." She folded her arms. "Peace, happiness, and small enjoyment." Kenneth shook his head. "You suffered too much for small enjoyment." Within months, he bought her a beautiful duplex, enrolled her children in excellent schools, started paying all their fees, gave her husband a managerial role in his company, and officially appointed Jennifer as company matron. Madam Matron. The first day she resumed, junior staff whispered, "Is that the boss's sister? She used to sell bread. Now she's matron?" Jennifer heard and smiled. During a staff meeting, she said confidently, "I know what it means to struggle. So if you are working here, work with integrity. This company was built with sacrifice. Everyone listened. She later enrolled in adult education classes. One young employee teased her, "Madam, after all this success, you still want to write exam?" She replied boldly, "My brother is a genius. I cannot carry last." Laughter filled the room. The anniversary speech at the company's 10th anniversary celebration. Thousands gathered. Kenneth stood on stage in a tailored suit, spotlight shining. He cleared his throat. "People call me self-made." He paused. "But I am sister-made." The hall went silent. He pointed to the front row where Jennifer sat. "That woman sold bread so I could sell software." Applause erupted. He continued, "She carried me on her back to hospital. She went hungry so I could eat. She told me to become billionaire. I obeyed." Then, to everyone's shock, he knelt before her. "Thank you for being my mother at 8 years old." Jennifer broke down in tears. This time, she didn't hold it back. The crowd stood up, clapping, cheering, some crying. Full circle. From uncompleted building to duplex owner. From hawking bread at midnight to coordinating staff in a top tech company. From a 7-year-old girl to the foundation of a billionaire. One night at her new home, Kenneth visited. They sat on the balcony quietly. "Sister," he said softly, "are you happy?" She smiled peacefully. "Yes, because I did not fail you." He shook his head. "You didn't just raise me, you built me." And in that moment, under the Lagos night sky, they both understood something powerful. Wealth is good. Success is beautiful. But sacrifice builds legacies. Jennifer's story reminds us that true wealth is not just money. It's love, sacrifice, and determination. A little girl who hawked bread to feed her brother built not just a family, but an empire. A child who refused to give up shaped a future that changed generations. From uncompleted buildings to luxurious offices, from midnight bread hawking to guiding a billionaire, this is a story that proves hardship can produce heroes. Sacrifice can turn dreams into reality. Love is the strongest currency of all. Let Jennifer and Kenneth inspire you to stand tall in the face of struggle, to fight for your dreams, and to lift others along the way. If this story touched your heart, like it, share it, and subscribe for more incredible Nigerian success stories. Every click helps keep these inspiring stories alive for those who need hope today.